All right, let's get to our bets here for the game. Adam, want to start with you. What bets are, let's just say, they don't necessarily have to be in your account quite yet. What bets are there, and then what bets are you leaning towards, and what bets do you think will end up there by the time we kick this thing off?
So last year, the bet that I hit that was at the longest odds was Cam Akers for the first reception of the game at 9-1. This year, you can find out there, I believe DraftKings has them for the individual teams even, which is even better, right? Because then you don't have to worry about who gets the ball first. I just got lucky that the Rams had the ball. You can get both starting running backs at 8-1 to get the first reception of the game. I would bet both of those because when you're betting the individual team, you get both options. You're going to see early on that these teams, in the manner of feeling each other out, if something is not there in terms of the original pass concept, both of these quarterbacks are just going to get rid of the ball. And the most likely way they just get rid of the ball is checking it down to a running back. And so you can go for Miles Sanders, you can go for Isaiah Pacheco in both those spots at 8-1. If you think it's more of a design situation, you can get Jerick McKinnon at 6-1. Already in my account, this one is a little bit more exotic, shall we say. But it's one of the few that I saw and immediately played. And it was the length of the last field goal made in the game. I have length over 36.5 yards on the last field goal made in this game. Either of these teams, if we're playing this game close, either of these teams, if they are marching down the field on offense, one of two things is going to happen. If you're in the situation for a potential late touchdown, both of them have shown a willingness to go for it on fourth down. And both teams ultimately understand the way that, say, the Patriots defended Ahmad Bradshaw late in the game. They're going to try to let the other team score if they need the football back. I don't see a situation where the last time we see a field goal in a close game is going to be from 25 yards. That's just not the inclination of either one of these teams. I think what you could see, if it's truly a close game, and we're talking about Mahomes and company trying to come from behind, then we're probably going to go and say, all right, well, is it the sort of quick drive where they try to get close enough for a field goal and they're kicking from 40, 50 yards? That to me feels much more likely. The other way that I would go about this is I would be looking at receiver unders on the receptions totals for the Eagles. I mentioned earlier that my game state for an over is the Eagles throwing the ball, but I think if they throw the ball, it's going to be distributed. I don't think there's going to be one receiver who is the target. It's not going to be Devontae Smith. It's not going to be A.J. Brown. So for me, the first place I would be looking at A.J. Brown under 4.5. Then beyond that, I think I would probably be looking toward the other side with the Kansas City Chiefs. And I know it's sacrilege to talk about betting an under on Travis Kelce, but right now, with the injury, you can get Travis Kelce under 6.5 at plus 150. I'm not saying put your whole bankroll into that, but if Travis Kelce is truly banged up in some way, shape, or form, if he's going to be the focal point of the Philadelphia defense, the idea of Travis Kelce going something like 6 for 90 is, to me, worth a plus 150 bet.
Stephen, what bets are in your account, my friend, and what are you leaning towards here?
Got my phone out taking notes on all these props Adam has here because there's too many to remember all at once for the Super Bowl, man. I'm you know me, I'm firing the board. Last chance we have till next fall. So, or maybe the NFL draft. I want to go back to Miles Sanders here. You know, I mentioned him as a live long shot for Super Bowl MVP. I want to explain a little bit more why, because I'm also betting over 59.5 rushing yards for him at minus 115 at BetMGM. This is based off of me having what seems to be a contrarian view of Kenny Gainwell at this point. There's been a lot of steam on his over Gainwell in terms of his rushing yards, what he's done in the first two playoff games. But I think there's a lot of box score reading going on out there with what happened in there, because if you look more closely, in the first playoff game against the Giants, only 4 of Gainwell's 12 carries came in the first half, and then the Eagles were up 28-0, and he got his other 8 carries. Yeah. That was versus 13 first-half carries for Miles Sanders out of his 17.
You're not. Here's the deal. You're not contrarian here. You just looked at it. You looked at it smart, and not people that are looking at it on surface level, because it's the correct take. It's the right look at this. Game states in which the Eagles were within, which we call game state neutral, in a game that was in one score, Miles Sanders is the guy that's on the field. Like that is period, end of story. That is all there is to it. The reason why it feels like it's a running back by committee, go down the box scores of the Eagles. They beat the piss out of everybody. I mean, they just like, there's so many games in which they won by multiple scores, right? And so that's why Gainwell was getting carries, and that's why Boston Scott gets carries and all stuff like that, because Sirianni's the dude that puts his starters on the sidelines and not risks injury or whatever. So you're 100% right. I like Sanders takes in this one as well. I like Sanders props in this one as well. I like anything you really want to give me with Miles Sanders here, because again, I do feel like this stays fairly close. And if this stays fairly close, he's the guy that's going to be on the field. It's not going to be these other guys.
He also went over this total in 10 of his first 15 games before playing less than 50% of his snaps his final 2 weeks of the regular season, where they were clearly resting him. Those were the only 2 games the entire season where he played less than 50% of snaps. They had the same luxury in the playoffs. I mentioned the Giants game, the NFC Championship. Again, Gainwell only had 4 first-half carries. Miles Sanders had 10 first-half carries. If you think this game is going to be close, and the entirety of the betting world does with a spread of 1, Miles Sanders is going to get the bulk of the work here. And I also think it's worth taking some alt lines on him. You know, if you want to look at 2+ touchdowns, maybe bet like a quarter unit to a half unit, you can get plus 700 on Miles Sanders have 2+ touchdowns. We know Jalen Hurts is not 100%. And if you go just straight by numbers, he had 2+ scores in 4 of 19 games this year. It's about 21% of the time. The implied odds there about plus 376, and we're getting plus 700 here. So,
and it's not sexy for anytime touchdowns or anything and all stuff like that. But like, again, this Eagles team runs the ball, right? So they scored when they scored from inside the 10-yard line, they had 8 passing touchdowns and 32 rushing touchdowns, right? So it's like they get inside the 10, they run the friggin' ball, right? And so, I mean, Sanders, first touchdown scorer, anytime touchdown scorer, multiple touchdown, all the different stuff like that, I think is all in play. Again, I know some numbers aren't as sexy as others, but a win is a win is a win. So I am on a lot of Sanders props actually for this game. I'm on a pretty good amount of them.
I love it, man. And related to that is my fading of Jalen Hurts. I'm under his passing yards in this game too. It's ticked down to 240.5. It's probably my stopping point. You know, if you listen to this later in the week, it's in the 230s. I wouldn't be betting the under anymore, but 8 yards per play 8 yards per attempt during the regular season, 3 games since he's been back, 6.5, 6.4, 4.8. He's clearly not right. So that's related to Miles Sanders. If you like Miles Sanders big, then there's probably a decent chance that Jalen Hurts is not getting as many attempts.
On my end, guys, like I said, I have tons of Miles Sanders. I like him just a ton in this game. I like everything about Miles Sanders. I'm on the opposite side of y'all on this one. I think he'll get the good stuff, and I think I like Travis Kelce in this game. I like him to have over on the yardage total here. I think it's a little shy. Listen, the opportunity is going to be there. Now, whether he can cash in on that opportunity, that is to be determined. But like there is a 0% chance in my mind that he doesn't get at least 8 targets in this game. And it would not surprise me if he had a dozen plus in this game. Like I can't imagine you go out of the Super Bowl and you have a loss and you're having to answer questions as to why you didn't throw the ball to Travis Kelce, the best tight end of all time, arguably, and certainly the best tight end in the game today. The other thing that's just interesting to me about him is like they line him up all over the place too, which I think works in my favor with all this. He had 748 pass snaps. He ran a route on 677 of those. So he ran a route on 91% of the snaps he was in that they passed. 332 of those were out of the slot. 216 of those were out wide at wide receiver, which is the highest among all tight ends, even Kyle Pitts, who basically played exclusively wide receiver for the Falcons there for a long time, and only 195 are in line. So, like, they move him all around. They try to get him in space. They try to get him open. So I like Kelce to actually have some good stuff here. The other one that's in my account, I have Mahomes minus 45.5 pass yards against Jalen Hurts. I think there's multiple different game states in which get me there on that one, because if the Chiefs go nuts, well, Patrick Mahomes likely went nuts along with them. And if the Eagles are having success running the ball and the Chiefs are having to play from behind, well, then the Chiefs are having to throw the ball all over the place and the Eagles are running the ball. And if they're running the ball, they're not passing the ball. And every yard that Patrick Mahomes passes for gets me closer to that 45.5 handicap that he has over Jalen Hurts in this game. So I have that one in the account as well. Really, really do like that one and feel like that one is a strong way to play this one, because I think there's multiple game states in which that one gets home as well. All right, it's time here, Adam. I know doesn't have to be official plays, but it's just as we sit right now. There's a total of 50.5 out there. There's a total of 51. If you had to play the total, you playing the over or the under, my friend?
Under.
Steven, 50.5, 51, over or the under?
I'll go under, because I think the Eagles are going to be able to run the ball very well.
Clean sweep on the pod. I would play under 51 as well. A little bit of advice here, and guys, I guess we can't say for certain because there's all these new markets that are betting into this, and so we don't really know for sure. But historically, most of the casual money comes in late. Most of the casual money comes in on overs. So if you are wanting to bet the under on this total, a 51.5 is actually really valuable as opposed to a 51. So a 51.5 is super valuable, and I will be holding out. If I can find a 51.5, I will be coming in on the under on the 51.5. And again, historically, it is an overfest the last 48 hours leading into a game when people actually start to pay attention and bet this thing. And so I'll be holding out to see if I can get under 51.5.
Hey, Matt,
all right, guys, here it is. How are you going to be betting this? Listen, we know you're going to have some sort of action one way or another on the side or the total, whatever. I mean, on the side or the spread, whatever it is. Adam Candy, are you going to be betting the money line? Are you going to be betting the spread, and which team's it going to be?
Nope. I will have no money line or spread bet on this game. This is the one game a year where we have so many better ways to attack this game than dealing with a 1.5 that I want nothing to do with that. There are too many ways this game could go. Look, my lean is Chiefs, but it is not nearly strong enough for me to play it. And so there are so many different ways to go about this. And think about how often we talk about playing teasers, right? Your only option in this game is if you want to tease it with the total, and I would not suggest that in any way, shape, or form. So to me, I will have probably 85% of what goes into this game on props.
Steven, side, what you doing?
You know, I like teasers all year long, and the Chiefs are in teaser range. Can we tease that with an XFL or USFL game or something? There's
probably
that
some sort of cross sport thing that you can tease or something, whatever. Something along.
Do the long teasers work in those leagues, or is it just the NFL? All right. I'm not playing the side, or I'm not playing the spread in this game or the money line. I have those Eagles futures. I have them at good numbers. I do. If forced to make a pick in this game, I think I would take the Eagles, because I do think that they are just otherworldly running the ball, and that physicality wears on you. And I just have, a philosophical belief that in this era of the NFL, when you have that rookie quarterback contract cheat code and you build up your roster as well as the Eagles have at every other position, I believe that will overcome an opponent that has the better quarterback and a better tight end, but not better at any other spot.
Yeah, I don't have a ton of conviction, really, and that's weird because most Super Bowls I do. That said, I'm going to hold out to the end, kind of like we were talking about historically, when there is, if you want to bet an under, you wait until the end. If you want to bet the favorite on the money line, you typically wait till the end as well. For whatever reason, historically, the people want to come in and they want to win more money than they put down. And so the money line of the underdog gets bet very heavily, which actually creates a little bit of value on the money line for the favorite. I'm going to have a small play on the Eagles on the money line. I actually do think the Eagles are the better team. I had them number one in my power ratings for the vast majority of the season, as you guys both know. I do think that there are some pretty distinct advantages with them, that offensive line, and being able to run the ball and kind of control the game a little bit and at least neutralize what Patrick Mahomes and them can do on offense on the defensive side. So small money line play for the Eagles on me, but same with you guys. Majority of my stuff is going to be in on the props with this game, and that's really fortunate that we're able to get down so much action with all the different props that are available out there. Guys, we do have other people that have opinions on this over on thelines.com. So head over there. Again, everything we do, absolutely free. Please hit that subscribe button. We're not done. We're going to talk draft. We're going to talk basketball. Everything, golf, everything is happening on this channel. This is just going to be us for the football season. Guys, it's been an absolute blast. I appreciate you guys each and every week coming in here and us giving, what I think was some pretty good analysis this season. I know we won more than we lost. There were some pretty bad weeks that were mixed in there, but some really good weeks as well, and feel pretty strong about some of the stuff that we've got heading into the Super Bowl here. And, as a reminder to everyone, rest of country out there, there's always live betting as well in the Super Bowl. So if you see anything, you can get in on that.
Hey, Matt, just 30 seconds on this. Steven's talking about the Eagles Super Bowl futures that he has. If you're someone out there holding a future on either one of these teams, how are you approaching live betting as a potential way off that if it's not going your way?
Yeah, I mean, see, I'm always team hedge for most people out there because most people don't have the type of bankrolls that I think is worth not hedging, right? Like, I mean, for me, you probably, if you have a big Eagles future, you probably got it at like 20-ish or something to 1, 22 to 1, 25 to whatever, those numbers that were floating out there on them at the beginning of the year. I don't think it's worth leaving with zero. And I mean, listen, I know that's an unpopular opinion amongst certainly the sharp bettors out there and all that, but like, most people don't have the freedom with their bankrolls to just piss away a 25 to 1 ticket or 22 to 1 ticket or something like that. So I'm always team hedge.
For me, it's hoping that the opposite team of your futures ticket gets to plus 3.5 on the live line at some point. It doesn't matter at what point. Hopefully, obviously, in the first 3 quarters, what we're looking for. If we can get a plus 3.5 and try and middle this for like a quarter of your potential profits, I think that'd be fine. And then you have the chance of winning both of your tickets if they wind up in that middle. So that's kind of where I'm at. And last bet for me, Matt, is the fact that we have a game with a spread of 1 and a high total. You can get a prop to have this game tied at any point after 0-0 for minus 115. We're going to have lots of scoring opportunities, and it is an evenly matched game. Pretty good chance at any point in this game after it begins, we're going to have another tie. So I like that bet as well.
Guys, head on over to TheLines.com, take in all the great words that are over there. We have tons of opinions on this game, as you could only imagine. Great breakdowns of offenses versus defenses and everything like that you need to help make your informed opinion on everything. Take advantage of the prop finder. It is a button right there, dead center in the middle of the page. This is the most important time of year ever to take advantage of the prop finder. You are going to be able to find the best number, the best juice, the best everything that you are looking for out of this myriad, thousands and thousands of different props that you have out there. And it will help you make the most EV bet that you can make for the number that you are looking for. For Steven, for Adam, I'm Matt. Good luck on all your bets here on the Super Bowl.